Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on the YouTube account. We're going to be making some progression and of course going through the question and answer time that we have, making sure that we are really going through, and of course this resets a new week. So it is a new week in AFK Arena, new short-term heroes. Make sure you're borrowing heroes if you do need them. Then of course, Garrison heroes, this is really big when it comes to Rem and Amelia. A lot of players were kind of questioning, when are we going to get Rimuru and Shuna in here? Usually it is about 4 or 5, possibly even 6 months before we're going to see them in the Garrison. So if you did not pick them up, it's free to play. If you did not get copies of them, unfortunately for the time being, they are going to be totally unavailable to a lot of players. You can see right here, we are still 40 of 40 friends. So we're doing well in there with the friends. What's going on? Echo and Ebon is here, as well as Big C. Thanks for joining us, guys. Again, this is kind of the reset, so I want to run through what we got going on. Couple events that are going on right now, and I know most of you have already completed when it comes to the event centered around LAN. The Summer Odyssey, this one again is kind of already complete. It keeps pinging me in there to buy the purchases. Summer Delight, the exact same. We're just continuing getting diamonds in here. Now I am saving my diamonds. You can see right now we have 27,000 diamonds. I am saving those because we know the Wilder is going to be dropping on Tuesday, which means Monday, tomorrow is going to be patch notes. Tuesday, of course, is going to be the new Wilder that we're going to be seeing. Then, of course, we have some rewards. If you didn't check, there's a code that I dropped as soon as we started the stream. This is the code. So they're giving us 1,000 diamonds, so pretty good on there. And then, of course, we have our Twisted Realm. We also have the leaderboards that we're getting out of the, I believe this one is the Treasure Hunter. And then, of course, we have our regular Twisted Realm rewards. Those just accumulate. I mean, even here, that's 31, 41, 42. That's 4,200 diamonds. And then, of course, Stargazer Scrolls. And I love this one as well because we get the Elemental Cores. Very, very well worth it. Now, one thing that I noticed is Treasure Scramble. I've been kind of sliding down a little bit in the Treasure Scramble itself. That is because a lot of players do have land built. Unfortunately, I don't. So even going through here and looking at Treasure Scramble, I think we ended at 1%. Last time we were at, I believe, around 70, so just a little bit over where we wanted to be. What's going on, Primo? NH Jordan is here as well. Thank you guys for joining us for the stream. First stream I've been able to catch in a while. Hope everything is well. Doing super well, Benjamin. It's a little bit earlier today. We do have a baseball game that the first pitch is at 1 o'clock, so we are not going to be here this afternoon to do the baseball game, but definitely wanted to hop on, wanted to make sure that we got this stream. That way, again, question, answer, anything like that. Now, when it comes to Draconic Heroes, we've talked about this before. Draconic Heroes are just wicked expensive. Honestly, there's not going to be a point in the near future that I'm going to build land unless they go ahead and change something because of the sheer cost of the heroes itself. And same when you look at Melion, when you start looking at Gwen, a lot of the heroes are seeing a lot more utility in different game modes. But again, a lot of players are not using them. I'm at chapter 26 and my team is Rem, Amelia, Ivan, Oden, and Silas. That is a solid team. Sensei, that is a really good team in there. You got the crowd control, you got the damage, you got Ivan. Yeah, that's really good. 1 o'clock there, it's 1,600. Is this your main account? Yes, Yusuf, this is my main account. Right now we're at 1.56 trillion power. So we've gotten a lot of power in here. And then, of course, look at the difficulty going in here. I don't know if you guys have noticed. So when we do proceed, we'll go ahead and challenge this. Let's go ahead and begin the adventure. There we go. So partaking in the maze, level sweep. Let's go ahead and confirm. Boom. There's our rewards. And guess what? Abandon these. It's done. Finally, 5 years later, guys. When you go in here, congratulations, you've completed this adventure. As long as you go in here, you can see Dismal Maze floor number 3 is completed in its entirety. All you have to do is click a button when you go in here. You don't have to go through floor 3 again. So it is going through here, and this just completes it in its entirety. We just pick up the loot every time, which is awesome. But again, we don't have to sit here and farm through this whole 3rd floor that we used to. And I didn't realize it. I came in here, I logged on early a couple days ago, and when I hopped in here, it just went to the very, very end of the floor, which is awesome. So it auto completes the maze or the Arcane Labyrinth, making it super, super easy and efficient right now. Of course, Heroes of Vesperia, we're starting to get a little bit more power in here, 84 billion, but even looking at the server itself, there's a lot of players that are much, much higher than I am. Even looking in here, looking at Photon Earth, there are 1 trillion with the teams. So it's kind of impressive with how strong some of the players are actually getting in AFK Arena. Now, this, of course, opens all the towers. When it comes to the towers, guys, this is the place you have to farm, and you have to farm all the time. This is the one that it is never going to stop the amount of farming that you actually do within these towers, because this is the place that is going to yield you pretty much the fastest and the most efficient return when you're going through this game mode, when you're going through the towers itself, getting your time emblems, getting your Stargazer cards, also getting everything you need resource-wise to build all of the heroes. It is super effective. What do I think of the new Wilder? I feel like in a multitude of teams, Primo, it's not going to be super effective. I think there's going to be absolute teams when it comes to having single target bosses because of the buffing that she does provide. I like the buffing. I like how the hero fundamentally works, Primo. The thing that I do not like at all is how the hero moves. So if you have anyone that is going onto the enemy side, so if you have anyone that's coming into this back side, the enemy side of the formations, she is going to follow them, and she does follow them, resulting in her just dying. That is what we've seen, even testing it out on the test server. With her going to the enemy side, she's just getting kind of just crushed over there, unfortunately, because of the survivability, or really the viability. And then, of course, when you start getting into the level deficiencies, that makes a really big difference. And that's why I said, when you start looking at the Cursed Realm, the Nightmare Corridor, some of those game modes where it is single target boss, where if she goes on that enemy side, she's not going to be killed, is going to make a big difference. I feel like that's where we're going to really see her shine. So it seems like she's going to be another hero we're going to build, and we're going to build her for probably literally 1 or 2 game modes. We could see her possibly in the Treasure Scramble. Level deficiency, maybe not. Tower, of course, we're probably going to see her. Yeah, her normal attack only heals, which again, healing-wise, pretty good, especially early. Yeah, it's still pretty cool. Again, that's why I know we seen that the normal attacks weren't there. But honestly, when you look at a majority of the support heroes, Primo, they don't do any damage. I mean, you're talking negligible, maybe 100 to 300K. Not really anything big, but if you can keep a hero alive, that will work incredibly well. Just hop on Valorant. So we're going to play off stream in the background. Awesome. Thanks, Echo. Yeah, it's a couple other games we've been kind of looking at. If you guys caught, I'm playing Guild of Guardians. It's a crypto game. It's pretty fun to play. The game is super, super basic, though. That's why I feel like a lot of people are not picking it up or playing. It is pretty basic, but it's pretty fun. And then, of course, AFK Arena. If you guys seen also the announcement over on AFK Arena Facebook, the AFK Companions is complete. Still getting a lot of questions about AFK Companions, and I don't know what is going to come of that. I don't know exactly what that is going to look like. If it's going to be, again, some sort of incorporation into AFK Arena. We don't know if it's going to be a standalone game. If they just go ahead and rename it, there's a lot of questions with that. And of course, I don't like how long this takes. Dragonhorn, even getting through 10 here is impossible. But I believe we did get a couple scrolls. And of course, we're looking for Milion. That is the one that we are absolutely looking for. And then, of course, in here, we're looking for Gwen. Gwen, we need 2 more copies. If you remember live stream we did last week, we did pick up 2 copies of Gwen, put the furniture on her. We're still going to do some furniture summons, but we need 2 more copies to add the engraving on her. And of course, she is going to be one that we're going to build out pretty high. But still looking for copies of Milion. And there's a double, guys. That is Milion and Cassius. Now, Cassius is good. Same with Nyla to get copies of for my account, because we can recycle those. We need some copies of Gorgie. We need some copies of a few different heroes in here. That way we have the food to actually recycle these over and over and over again. And I'm hoping we get a copy of Gwen. Again, we still need 2 copies. Every single week, guys, it is just grinding the copies. What's going on, Darren? Yeah, the normal, I know. Misha's going to be pretty interesting. I want to see exactly where she kind of lands. All right, guys, we got 14 insignias again. Let's see, fingers crossed. Can we get a copy? It doesn't look like it's going to be this one. But we're getting a lot of resources to build them out, but we need more copies because, of course, we are getting a free copy of Lan. And honestly, a lot of players were also questioning, and I'll show you guys in a minute, getting the free copy of Lan versus getting the insignias, and what I kind of thought about it, honestly, get the copy of land. When you think about the cost that we're seeing for these highborn dragons, the majority of them are running about 50 to, I would say, 65 draconic insignias to get one single copy. Get the copy out of Hero of Land versus the 20 insignias, even if you're building someone else. Because, of course, with Land being a support hero, even at a lower level, the hero can work very well in a lot of different game modes because of it just being kind of the very beginning. Jeff the Egg is back again. Oh, Misty Valley. Yeah, I think I still have to do the Misty Valley, which we can knock out. I don't think Dragonforge Trials. I don't think there's anything else in here. Even the Dragon Horn, yeah, there's nothing in here. And I think we do have some summons. I'm going to save again. So rumor, just like what Big C was saying. So the rumor is Stargazer, we have 318 in here, but rumor is that we are going to be seeing a Hypo hero as the next hero. That's kind of what Dolly's dialogue was looking. A Celestial or a Hypo, and a lot of players are speculating that it is going to be a Hypo. Then, of course, within the Noble Tavern, we are saving right here. So we did get all of the copies. We finished out Raul. So he is done. Still waiting to see exactly where he's going to be used. New Wilder is going to be up on Tuesday, so we can actually do some summons out there for the new Wilder. And of course, the Awakened Hero. We have 795 of our time emblems. And within the Awakened Heroes, we still have a Graveborn, we still have a Wilder that are going to be coming this year. So definitely take note of essentially what is coming in the future. Would you say Liberta is still the best option to build for returning players? Yes, Luke. Guys, Liberta, when it comes to the hero itself, Liberta is still used in 100% of every single game modes. When it comes to the build, when it comes to Liberta, Liberta is being used in every single game mode. Luke, there's not a place where Liberta does not work. It's kind of crazy, but yes, absolutely. So we got Gorgie in here. And you know what? I'm going to use my Nyla copy. I'm going to use my Cassius copy. Both Nyla and Cassius, if you can see down here, they are already at 5 stars. We are going to recycle those. And the reason being, we want a Legendary Plus. This is going to take Meleon. There we go. Boom. There is Mythic Plus. Now we are one single copy, which is right there. We need one copy, and Meleon will actually be up to Ascended. Throwing the furniture on there. Then, of course, some more summons. We'll build it out. Hildwyn is already ascended. Gwen is already ascended, plus 1 copy. Lan, unfortunately, like I had said, Lan is not going to be built and not going to be built for an incredible amount of time. First woke I built is Awakened Chimera. That is a good one. I'm thinking of building Awakened Leica before she's more unique of a kind of prone to power creep. I would probably go with the Awakened version of Athalia before I would do Leica. And again, the utility-wise. I know the Awakened version of Athalia does require a bigger investment, but the Awakened version of Athalia is still being used more places. You could do either. I mean, honestly, when you look at it, Dink, either of those are going to work incredibly well, regardless of which one you're building, which Mystic Star Zone, I don't think I've hopped in here today. Yesterday, we did cap out our time, so let's see if we have any premiums. Most of the premiums we can't take. It's very hard. We have some really big players within these game modes. So most of these we cannot take. Maybe we can kick somebody out, which we did. There we go. The win up by 54. You can see, guys, we are gaining. Big shout out to Adventure Walk. Big shout out to the guild, guys. We are gaining, which that gives me a shield for 30 minutes. So very cool. So that is going to, again, give us 30 more minutes. And here we already do have, I believe, all the personal quests at this point are done. Again, if you're going in here, you have to make sure that you're farming everything out of here and farming it on a very regular basis. If not, you are just kind of screwing over your guild, which that's the light way to put it, for the players that are in there. It took a little break. Well, welcome back to the game, Jeff. What's going on, Apollonier? Hippo, Awaken Sophia or Awaken Lucius to build. I can't push the Mauler Tower at the moment because of lack of Awakened Mauler. I would do Sophia. Honestly, when you look utility-wise, the Awakened version of Sophia Raku will do incredibly well and does do incredibly well. Even at that point, if you have the Awakened version of Sophia, I would borrow the Awakened version of Lucius would be the one that I would be looking for within the Garrison shop, or excuse me, the borrowing. I would look at getting the Awakened version of Lucius from another player, just for the simple fact, when you start looking at Lucius, Majority of places that you're using the hero is going to be the Cursed Realm and the Nightmare Corridor. I know the Treasure Scramble, he's used a little bit, but again, if you don't have him, you can fill him in. The Awakened version of Sophia, if you're struggling in the Mauler Tower, absolutely. I would go ahead and I would pick up the Awakened version of Sophia. Utility-wise, support-wise, still a ton of effectiveness in there. What's going on, Anime King? Hippo, would you say is better to build Awakened Athalia or Chimera? Belinda. Honestly, Riley, either one. Guys, when you start looking at the Awakened version of Athalia and Chimera, both of them are the SSS heroes, the absolute top tier that we see within AFK Arena. In their respective towers, they are going to be used everywhere. In the respective game modes, both of them are used everywhere. I have a tendency to go to the Awakened version of Athalia a little bit more, just because I do love the hero. I like the build of the hero. I love how the hero works itself. I think, again, kind of viability-wise, the hero is pretty broken and works incredibly well. When you get Athalia built out, you can see she usually just one-shots everything when you have her built out. Even when it comes to Treasure Scramble, she is just dominates so many different game modes in here. It's kind of crazy. This one, of course, we have to do Maulers. And going through here, you cannot miss this, guys. There are so many things in AFK Arena now, but you cannot miss any of the content, because if you do, you're missing a lot of loot. And you'll realize that if you miss it once, twice, even 3 times, you start falling behind in this game. Honestly, it is a big, big game of grinding everything that you can do in here. So we needed, I think it was Skarath, and then I think it was Theowen, which Theowen used to have a lot of utility. Pretty cool how she goes immune. Also, would you wait for the next Awoke announcement or just jump into building Leica or Awakened Athalia? Depends how much you have, Dine. That's a big thing, is with the new Awakened hero, I would probably say, since we know it's probably going to be Celestial and Hypo, again, that's the speculation of what's coming next, which, looking at gaming-wise, looking at the timeline, that puts the next hero being an Awakened hero. Don't know if it's going to be Wilder, don't know if it's going to be a Greyborn, but you're looking at probably a 2-week runway where we're going to see the next Awakened hero, and it should be, again, just based on the next Awakened hero, the timeline to the end of the year, and knowing there are two Awakened heroes that are going to be dropping. You could wait. And again, if you're kind of playing catch up with the heroes, if you don't have enough to build the hero out, I probably would recommend waiting just to see, because the next hero that comes out might be super broken. We know that both of them, that Athalia and Chimera, work incredibly well. Same with Leica. Leica and Athalia and Chimera, they all do work incredibly well. Even the Awakened version of Sophia, again, works super well. It just really depends on your resources and how you're using your resources, because I don't want a new hero to come out that even replaces some of our current heroes, and then you don't have anything to build them at all. It's always a game of catch up. That's honestly what it is. What's going on, Eldon? How are we doing today? We're doing awesome. I'm ready for the baseball game. You can see we're all dressed and prepped and ready. Once we get out of here, it's cool. They're having dinosaur days at the baseball stadium. So there's going to be all kinds of dinosaurs there, so you can take pictures, do all kinds of stuff. And they make it super interactive. And then, of course, we have the baseball game, which is going to be really, really fun. Every time we go down there, it's an absolute terrific time going to watch it. What is your opinion on Braun? He seems to be used a lot early game. So Braun is used in a couple different formations, and Braun is almost used as a very high niche hero if you have him or you don't, because when you look at some of the places with Braun, some of the bosses, Braun can just walk by. That's why he's being used. He was used in the Burning Brute. He was used in a couple different places where if you place Braun, and I'll kind of show you, this says all heroes on the back line must be Rangers. Okay, so let's knock out the back line. But looking at a formation, so if the Burning Brute is right here, kind of where Moriel is at, Braun you can put in slot 3 or 5, and Braun will actually walk past the boss, literally not getting anything, just Braun just walks right past the boss. With walking past the boss, once he hits here, he turns around, he ults. That is kind of the niche formations that we're seeing Braun, is because he can walk past bosses. if there are multiple heroes, if there are multiple targets, if he cannot walk past, he isn't being used at all. What is more important, pets or tree? Honey badger, the pets. 100% the pets. And the reason being, when it comes to the pets, I didn't even see which one this was, Light Bears. When it comes to the pets, when it comes to the beasts themselves, they are the absolute number one priority, because when it comes to the pets themselves, you are running multiple teams in every single game mode, including campaign formations, versus having the elder tree built up a little bit, which the elder tree will come with time. Building out the pets are almost like having the sixth hero. I would absolutely 100% recommend building the pets out. And me personally, I neglected the pets for quite a while. Once I went back and I built out the pets, it was an absolute game changer. And I didn't see the second hero. I seen Gorvo. Let me hop out and see Gorvo and Kelthar. I was close. I put Ivan in there. I thought it was a Greyborn, but I couldn't remember who. Yeah, guys, when it comes to the beasts, you don't want to overlook them. They added a lot. Can you do anything with extra copies of the main faction heroes? I have 5-star Scarlet and another elite. I don't know if I can recycle the rickety cart. So Benjamin, the way that you're going to do it is, yeah, you're going to either use them as fodder for other heroes, or you're going to go through and you're going to recycle them, which we can look at in just a minute. So the extra copies, once you have them 5 stars, combine your legendary heroes with them, is the way that you're going to get more legendary heroes. I save them as fodder, and I do save 2. If you guys remember, I save 2 of every single faction for the heroes that we have. So I do kind of stockpile all of those extra copies. And I think this one was don't alt. So we'll take off the alts in here. And of course, with Nadia and everybody else, we don't even need it. But there we go. Don't alt for more than 4 times. We didn't alt at all in that one. 5 different factions, and we need wilders. Let's run this with our wilders first. And I'll show you in just a minute, Benjamin, kind of what we're talking about. Yeah, use them as fodder, use them to get legendary plus units. Yep, that's exactly. So you're going to use them as food, and I'll show you exactly why I do save the other copies as well for exactly that reason. I mean, honestly, for exactly that reason. So 5 different, so we need a light bearer, need a mauler, already got a wilder. We'll take a Greyborn. There we go. All different faction heroes. Yeah, the seal is broken. When you look at the slumbering seal, I'm definitely a pet. But when you start looking at the owl, when you start looking at some of the older pets, I mean, the older beasts that we've had for quite a while, they do incredibly, incredibly well. It is kind of crazy how effective the beasts are. And honestly, they can amplify everything you do here. And now we have a ton of beasts, because you also have to think, when it comes to the beast itself, you have to think about the future too. So when you think about all of the new beasts, all the future releases, everything else that you're going to get with the pets, you're going to have the pets and you're going to have the new beasts already at 18 without a warrior or support. No warrior, no support. So let's just go ahead and we'll wipe our formation here. No warrior, no support. Let's go with tank, and let's go with... I don't like how it doesn't keep it. Let's see if this team can do it. Let's go to tank. Tank hypos. Look at that. We got some really, really basic in here, but that's okay. Let's see if we can do it just with our tanks. Now, Tayleen's in there, Vathiel's in there, Kanis and Rook, I still do love. Such a cool hero. We can do it. Yeah, the new pet. Yes, you are spot on, Adam. I loved how they did it as well. I think, again, I don't know if that's going to be the combination of how they're running it in AFK Companions. If that is something that they're going to incorporate here into AFK Arena, we don't know. And our mailbox is full, guys. We're going to have to pop up some of these, all of these stones. All right, so let's hop in here. I believe we were looking for, let's go. Raul is already done. And I know most of these, I don't like that it doesn't show like who is already built. I believe maybe Villanelle, let me go out. I want to make sure that we're not overbuilding these heroes. I want to make sure that we don't have Villanelle. Maybe Villanelle's at 2 stars, 3 stars. Yeah, so we'll pick up another copy of Villanelle. I wanted to make sure that we just weren't overbuilding the hero because of where we were. But yeah, the new pet mechanic, I feel like was a lot better. It's almost adding the elder tree to the pet mechanic. It is kind of what it was. There's a couple different things, again, that they really did well. in AFK companions, which I hope they do incorporate. So again, a lot of loot, got some more epic emblem chests in here, got some more draconic scrolls, which we know are just an absolute nightmare to build out those heroes, like we've said every single time. Dragon Io. Let's go ahead and do one more pull in here. Anything good? It is nothing, just some more garbage. But again, that's okay. I was hoping we'd pull that very last copy of who we need. Disappointed in Raul. Yes, so that's something that we've seen. So again, Raul, and I don't like building heroes that are very, very niche. So when you start looking at heroes like Raul, he's one, again, that is kind of showing up as a very, very niche hero that might be used in one formation every now and then. I feel like even with upcoming heroes, there's probably going to be a very early replacement of the hero that they're probably just going to phase him out, is what I'm kind of assuming, because of the utility of the hero is not super high, but still does kind of fill that niche formation. But again, I don't like building the heroes that are used for just one place. It's horrible to build a hero for one single spot. Of course, we're at what, 3,200. We have a custom scroll right there. I have to do, and I want to use my keys as well. Let's go through, use these keys. Getting more of our cores in here, another 120 cores. And I wonder if we have enough. I don't think we have enough yet. Let's pop these open, guys. So 66, and we'll look at what we were talking about with Benjamin in just a minute. Out of here, who do we got? Lady Simona's in there. Looks like it's all food, no celestials, no hypos. Boom, just food again. So all of our stones were just food. That's okay though. So what do we do with 5-star heroes? This is kind of what Ben was saying. What do we do with all of these 5-star heroes? As you can see, we have quite a few of them. We just literally go in here and we recycle them religiously to get those hero coins. So looking in here, even right here, we'll take a copy of Hogan. I will use a copy, and normally this would be 2 5-star heroes. We can use our copy of Palmer because we know they're 5 stars. We already have a copy of Hogan. We're going to use Palmer. There we go. There's Legendary Plus. Now, with the heroes that are coming out, now the reason that I always save 2 of these, and I want to kind of explain it, is when you start looking down here, I have 1, 2, 3. I save 2 of my elite heroes because when it comes to building a hero, you need 2 copies of the elite heroes to actually get them up to Ascended. That is the reason. So when you get multiple copies of a hero, I save 2 Legendary Plus copies, and you'll see that we have them everywhere. Right here, we have both of these. In the Wilder faction, which we know there's a Wilder coming, I have both of these heroes. We save all of these every single time, and we only save 2 of those. It is the way to recycle those 5-star heroes, or you can actually use them as the fodder to level up the other heroes. So you can kind of do both. What's going on? Pull the Trigger is here. It's been a while. Thank you for joining us for the live stream, guys. It's so much fun doing this. So again, like for me personally, I will take a copy right here of Sylvana. We'll use Pharrell. We'll use Theowen. And of course, it's going to tell us we already have a copy. There is our legendary. Boom. There we go. There's Sylvana again. That takes us to Legendary Plus. Now, what I do from here is going in and going into the Rickety Cart. This is where I recycle. So looking at retire heroes, I only keep 2. Remember, it is only 2. So I'm going to retire this one. Then going through 1, 2 of the Maulers, 1, 2 of the Wilders, 1, 2, 3 of the Greyborn. Boom. We're going to go ahead and retire both these. And there we go. So we get 4,600 coins. Now, when you think about your coins, the hero tokens right here, this is going to give you the ability to power level the Elder Tree and really power level it really, really big. And look at that. Big C's the big dog with a big super chat there. Thank you for the support for the channel. That is absolutely amazing. Thank you for the super chat, guys. That is awesome to see. Thank you for the support, Big C. It's awesome that you're watching. And a lot of people, guys, we see them all the time. And I do see you guys all the time in the chat, in the streams. It's awesome. I love being able to interact with you guys. But like I was saying, with the hero coins, you're going to go ahead. We're going to recycle these. Not only does it give you a little bit of essence, which is good. Looking at the store, though, this bottom row is going to give you the ability to power level your tree. So as you're starting to recruit more heroes, as you're getting more heroes in general, you can buy all of your Twisted Essence out of here. The Twisted Essence is going to prime the tree. And then, of course, you get to the point 5 years later where the Elder Tree looks like mine does right here. Max out at 219 in every single aspect. And we still have, I believe, almost 7,000 twisted essence. So even when I have the ability to add one more level to the elder tree itself, I can continue and keep it maxed out and crazy. Is Bron good, the one who pulls the grave? He's pretty niche. That's the big thing, Yusuf, is definitely pretty niche. Yeah, if you don't have a lot of ascended heroes, don't just keep 2, keep as many as you need. Yeah, so the fodder thing is the other one, where if you have a hero, and unfortunately I don't have one to show you, but if you have a hero, you can use the 5-star ascended heroes as food versus using your legendary hero. So essentially, I could take a hero, let's say the new Wilder, for instance, hypothetically. I could use Raku and I could use, a copy of Almus in here to build out the new hero versus using my fodder heroes. So again, there's a point where the 5 stars we would hope they would do something with, kind of that we could do more with, but unfortunately we never have. Is Silas a nice healing Graveborn? Yes, absolutely, Sensei. So when you look at Silas, he is one of the heroes that when you have him built out, he does very, very well with not only the immunity factor, but buffing up the attack rating is the reason why a lot of players still do use Silas. Graveborn Tower, absolutely 100% have to have him really built to have the utility. Honestly, the hero is still being used in a lot of different places. We picked up some more keys in there. Boom, remember new week, we're getting some more resources. Let's hit up the IO. Now, when it comes to the Celestial IO, guys, this is a fun place. This is a very, very cool place to go ahead and summon everything up. Guys, you get so much resources out of here. And of course, because I do already have the beast at resonance level 18, we are not going to pull the baits. And honestly, I'm thinking about dropping out the essence because, again, we're so far done with the essence. I'm going to put in right here, I'm going to put in my my hero essence. That way we can build these up a little bit faster and a little bit further when it comes to levels. Now, of course, Poke coins you're going to need forever. Poke coins, literally, there is no point in AFK Arena you're not going to use Poke coins. And the exact same with red chest, especially with the signature item 40. There's no point in this game that you are not going to be using red chest. So we're going to save that. This is going to be the build out. I skipped the animation in here. We auto search. Once we find one, we're going to the next floor. So there we go. The next floor, and we're going to continue this until we hit the 10th floor. Every 10 floors, that is the point where you want to make sure that you're pulling everything that you can within the formations. You want to make sure you're pulling all 3 of the rewards from the floor. You don't want to miss out on the loot that you have on the 10th floor. It's kind of the jackpot. It is the big payday, and I'll show you in a minute once we get to that 10th floor. Usually going through here, you can push 30 plus floors. I think 30 plus floors is pretty normal when you're going in here. So there is floor 6, there is 7. And of course on floor 10, it's going to tell me to re-choose my loot, which again, we'll look at in just a minute. And a lot of players were also questioning getting Melion. So in here, honestly, I would probably, and I'm going to get a copy of Melion just because of the cost. There we go. So 10th floor. Again, beast and the baits are what normally you would get. This would be a point you would always get the baits out of here. For me, because we have them, I'm going to put my cores in here, my red chests in here. I'm going to put my Stargazer scrolls. Those are going to be the 3. But like I said, remember, every 10 floors is the jackpot floor. You are going to get all of your rewards out of here. Boom, there's 1, there's 2, boom, there's 3. All 3 of our rewards are done. A lot of players don't know that you can keep searching on the same floor. So we'll go through next floor. It's going to make us choose our rewards again, which of course are set to exactly what we had. And then continuing. Do you know why Lucretia has fallen off the meta that much? The big reason, Sensei, is the power creep. So when you think of Lucretia, which I believe was like, what, 2.5, 3 years ago now, it is the power creep. So when you look at the stock power that a hero comes with, that is the reason where, just for educational purposes, let's say Lucretia starts with 100,000. Let's say Lucretia starts with 100,000 power. The next hero starts with 105. The next hero starts with 110. So on and so forth until you get to the point where the 100,000 power rating that the hero came with never ever did make a difference in the beginning, because again, they've been so much power creep over time for the base stats that the heroes have. That is the reason why she fell off. Same with Ainz, same with any of our really big heroes. It is the power creep. It is by design. It is to keep new heroes, because think about the other part of it, Sensei, is if every single hero was released with the exact identical power, there is no need, and there probably wouldn't be a thing within the last 2.5 years that players would have stopped losing or utilizing Lucretia. Everybody having her build, there would not be a point that players would stop using the hero itself if there was no power creep within the game itself, which again is the big reason why they power creep. And of course, guys, when you think big picture for the company, for Lilith, it's money. New heroes, new resources, more resources, people buying it. It is a lot. I mean, it's a money factory. Let's be honest, you know, the game is for profit, and a lot of players put a lot of money into AFK Arena. How do I play AFK Arena on a computer? This is through BlueStacks. So this is through BlueStacks. It is an emulator, so it actually emulates my Google account. That is how I play. You just have to download the emulator. There's BlueStacks, there's Nox, there's a bunch of different emulators that you can utilize, but I do use it. So just the power creep, yes, just the power creep. And you can see it if you go in and look at the power creep of the heroes itself. So if you go in and look at that, guys, we got the 400 Pokecoins in the very last one. And look at that, guys, we got a new subscriber, and it is not in English, so I'm not gonna read it, but thank you for subbing to the channel, guys. That is one. We try to get 5 every time we do a stream, which usually we get pretty close to the 5, but yes, absolutely. We got a super chat and a new subscriber, and they're very, very cool. So 325. Now, of course, in the exchange store, we need, I believe, 450. I believe it is 450 that we're looking in here. And again, I'm going to get a copy. Emilion, for a majority of players, I do not and I would not recommend getting a copy of the Draconic Heroes, especially if you are a player that is not and really do not want to build them. But we know I need one more copy of the hero, and that way we can have that hero built. That is the reason I'm going in here and building it. And of course, when we start looking at the purchases, the merchant, we stay with the exact same budget, which now the budget is about 80 bucks. But there's our 5,000 diamonds, guys. You get them for free. But looking at what we buy in the store, and again, this is a question that I get a lot of times. When we look at the store itself, we buy very, very limited. So I buy the monthly cards, we buy the regular monthly, the deluxe monthly. Noble Society, I buy the Champions of Espria, as you can see right here. We didn't buy the extended pass in here for the extra 20 bucks. Twisted Bounties, we didn't actually buy the Twisted Bounty either. Riga Rewards, I don't buy either. So even looking here, we have what, 20 bucks plus here, which is 24. So I mean, this month we've spent 45 bucks. I think that's 45 bucks. That's it. So that's all we bought. And again, I'm doing it in here because I do want the cores out of here. We're almost to another 10,000 cores. A lot of heroes we've actually started taking higher. We've actually started getting them to that E80 engraving. And of course, that's it. So I mean, 45 bucks to spend in a game every single month. I budget for it. And of course, what we get in YouTube, just like the super chat from Big C, that's what we put back into AFK Arena. We do have, and that was funny because years ago when I started the channel, it was a way to feed what we put into AFK Arena, because of course, what we get in YouTube AdSense, the revenue sharing, we do put back in here. Super chat, the exact same. Even gifting you the memberships, everything else, the exact same. So Voyage of Wonders, pretty well done. I'm glad we got the Misty Valley. Legendary Epic, I believe the new one is up. Or maybe, nope, it's not. So we just finished the last Obsidian Fitch. So that one is done as well. So this is complete. I think there's a new one that is coming very, very soon. So I'll have to knock that one out. The Voyage I have not done. I know this one, the Galactic Image, I have not done yet. Judgment Chronicles, that's completed. All the Hunter's Notes. So I'm going to have to catch this one up. And you want to do this, and you have to do this before this is done, guys. This is just nothing but bonus loot, but it is only for the first 30 days. I'm going to have to run through this probably a little bit later tonight and just finish this part out. But I feel like we're pretty well caught up. I know with vacation, everything else we have going on, we fell a little bit behind, but we definitely got there. Is that dude who looks like Black Zeus good? No, Zafriel, unfortunately, Yusuf, is not used really anywhere anymore. He used to be just an absolute decimation. It was a monster in PvP. And of course, we know Zafriel was the husband of Lucretia. So if you guys caught the way back videos, yes, Zafriel was the husband of Lucretia. And then, of course, she went crazy, turned into a Hippo after they executed her son. And again, it was a pretty dark storyline. And honestly, a lot of different storylines for this game have gotten pretty dark. If you guys remember Valorous and, again, a couple other storylines, they've gotten pretty dark with them. This, we're going to have to wait to get the rewards. We can finish out 9. That's kind of where we're staying. So we'll be able to get some more insignias, hopefully build out a little bit further with everything that we had. And it's funny because that makes me think of Black Adam, which is cool. That anime they released was so clean. Yes, they need to really partner with a company if they don't want to do it themselves to make kind of the AFK Arena animes. They can do a lot of really, really cool things in there. And of course, like I said, we just have to finish that part. The Bountiful Trials are done. The Misty Valley is done. Yeah, guys, I'm super stoked. And I feel good. I feel good with where we are at AFK Arena-wise. When I start falling behind with our resources, when I start falling behind with our progression, I know the consequences of not staying up with the game. Even for players that take a break, a lot of times it's very hard coming back because the game does change so fast. And then again, and I skipped that chest again, but you have to stay up with it. Now, of course, within the Star Zone, we are hoping to get some more parts of this chest. We definitely want to get it. What about that dude who stops time? And is he good? He's not used anymore. Looking at our shop, which my shop's empty, but yeah, looking at Orthos, Orthos isn't used anymore. As much as I do like him, and where is he at? There he is. So as much as I do like Orthos, Orthos used to be used a ton. Unfortunately, yeah, not used anymore. Even thinking bigger picture. So running through the heroes that are still used, even looking in here, I mean, just kind of a very quick rundown. Awakened version of Athalia, yes. Ulna, yes. Tarnos, Treasure Scramble, that's about it. Stall Team, probably right there. Stall Team, possibly. Looking at Liberta, yes, absolutely used. Demia, absolutely used. Even looking here, Gavis being used, and that's it. I mean, again, thinking big picture, multiple game modes. We have the Awakened version of Athalia, Demia, we have Liberta, and then probably Gavis. I mean, you only have 4 heroes out of here that are really being used through a multitude of game modes. There's some that's going to fill, like even looking here at Vatheo, when you start getting into later game, even later teams within the Treasure Scramble itself. But overall, a lot of these are not being used. Even the same looking here, a lot of these heroes not being used. We have Lucilla being used, Kelthan's being used, Lavatoon's being used, Matria some places, Eugene's being used. The rest of these, even looking here, Frampton, not really. Lucretia, no. Mortis, not really. Zolrath, Aziz, not really. Again, Eugene, yes, being used. Anissa and Rook, kind of a niche. A lot of the heroes, again, not being used through a lot of different game modes. So there are. Do you need 1 copy for the gallery? For the gallery? Yes, for the Ghoulish Gallery. I was trying to figure out what you're meaning. Yes. If you're looking at the Ghoulish Gallery, you have to have 1 copy if you want to unlock the collection. So even here, like Zolrath and Saurus, even looking at Orthos, you have to have 1 single copy. So if you come in the Ghoulish Gallery and you do not have a collection that is unlocked, it is because you do not own the hero, like what Adam said. If you don't own the hero, you cannot use it and you will not unlock that part of the Ghoulish Gallery. This is another part that I'm going to have to run through and actually finish this out. We have a card right there. Ghoulish Gallery, as much as players hate it, it is kind of a necessary evil. When you look at the absolute best in slot artifacts or collections within the game, guys, you have to have it. It is an absolute, again, it's an absolute requirement to build these out. And the stronger the collections, you can refine them, you can modify. You have to really, really focus on building these out, because it is super important. It is very, very important because, of course, the collections are going to go on your heroes. When you start looking at, 3 teams, 4 teams, 5, 6, 7, even 9 teams in the LC tournament, you have to have a crazy amount of collections. What about Edwin? Is he better for Grez? As of right now, yes. So that would be the first one. Edwin is still seeing some play a little bit more niche, but again, if you're not a player that has everyone built out, Edwin still does work very well in formations. Grez, unfortunately, yes, has kind of fallen off pretty well. What should be the first +2 collection? If you're looking +2, there is one that is 100% absolutely has to be your +2 collection, which is right here. Now, the reason being, when you start looking at this collection, the level 2 or the skill 2 is this one right here. When the holder takes a single instance of damage that exceeds 15% of the max health, they sacrifice a minion to mitigate the damage. That is the +2 ability that keeps the hero alive. Now, of course, when you start looking at the +2 ability that we have within this artifact, this is used in conjunction with Demia, and it's broken. The reason being, when you start looking at Demia, Demia has the ability to keep heroes alive with her ability in combination with that collection itself. You have the ability to keep your teams up through a lot of game modes where they would be killed. And the big reason for that is when you start looking at the Abyssal Expedition, when you start looking at the Cursed Realm and the Nightmare Corridor, they have the rage effects. That is the big thing. Gene Troll is when you look at the enrage effects and the ability to amplify the boss's damage. This hero specifically, that is the reason why she's absolutely one of the top tier heroes. This hero, in conjunction with the Captive Wings, where if she takes fatal damage, she will stay alive. In turn, keeping her alive keeps the entire team alive when the boss rage mechanics do happen, which is the reason, again, that should be 100% the absolute one. Now, short of that one, I do like going in here and getting the Athalia collection. These ones are super strong because there are so many heroes that use this in different game modes, even looking at right here. Looking at Leica, looking at anyone that is going to be using this. Ranger-wise, you have so many heroes in there with the utilization of the collection. Even looking at, some of the other ones down here, even looking at Baden, looking at Gwen, looking at some of the very, very strong heroes that we have that are best in slot in a lot of different formations. 100% absolutely going to build them out. But it's the same with any of them, though. Because then when you start looking like at the Saurus collections, yes, absolutely a big requirement. When you start looking at the collections with like a Chimera, yes, absolutely a big requirement. Oden, some of your damage dealers collections, I know I need to work on, and I'm going to focus on it. I'm going to make a note to myself. That is absolutely something that we're going to have to. Most of your guides on heroes I'm seeing use artifacts over them. Are they better? The collections, yes, Dark. The collections replaced everything. Even going through the heroes, the collections replaced all of the regular artifacts. Short of really the Thorin Cheese is the only place we still see the original artifacts. But yes, the collections are going to be the best in slot. My current formation is Damon and Grez in the front line, Simona, Ivan, and Silas in the back. What should I change? You should change Grez. Grez, unfortunately, especially if you are earlier game, Grez is going to get run over. The only way that Grez works is having minions up. If you don't have the ability, if Grez is not built out, Grez is not going to work, unfortunately. It's sad, but yes, they are going to go there. And why is Ivan that great? That's a great question, Sensei. So the big thing with Ivan is a hero that is very unique to what he does. So when you start looking at Ivan itself, even right here, so it gives a shield. So when you think of going to your absolute strongest hero, Ivan is not only going to provide a shield to the hero that he is protecting, he is also going to provide an energy regeneration right there with the hero itself. Then you couple it with a couple other things. Damage received is going to be reduced, again, going on your strongest hero, your highest combat rating. And then, of course, he has a crowd control. So think about this. He has the ability to buff energy. He has the ability to buff your attack rating, has the ability to shield, to damage mitigation, and he provides crowd control. When you start thinking of Ivan, and again, in his entirety, big picture, he is really the highest, one of the absolute highest utility heroes that we see not only in buffing the team that you have, but also negating essentially the opponent's team, the enemy's team, with crowd control in a couple different ways. He offers again that energy, the energy reduction. Even here, the audience's defense rating is reduced by 35 and up to 35 of the attack rating. He has a defense reduction. When you start thinking of, a team, and of course, he's untargetable when he uses his things, which again is kind of crazy. There are so many things that are built into Ivan, making him an absolute priority when it comes to any game mode for the buffing aspect that he has. Then, of course, like I said here, you add in the crowd control in there, and then, of course, panic, their haste reduction. That adds a whole PvP aspect in there, as well as the survivability. So the higher you build out Ivan, the better he's going to perform. It is just kind of crazy. Can we get another guide on what totems to use? Because it's really confusing. Yeah, we can. I can do one. I can share a couple with you. I have a lot of guides bookmarked, and it shows even the old school guide doesn't have any of the newer heroes, but there are a couple collection guides out there that work very, very well. Which attributes should we focus on the tree? When it comes to the tree, it depends who you're using. So honestly, when it comes to the tree, it depends on what heroes you're using. But the big tree built out is either you're going to focus on the right here with the support tree is incredibly well, and then I'd probably pick one or the other. Looking at the mage tree, the ranger tree, and the warrior tree. Tank tree is kind of the last one you're going to build. This is one, again, that is kind of neglected a little bit more. But when you think of your primary damage dealers, you want to make sure that you keep one of these trees kind of maxed, or you can build them evenly. There's a couple different ways to build out the elder tree, but support is huge because we have so many support heroes now, and so many support heroes have a crazy amount of utility in there. Yeah, Ivan is an absolute god. Yes, Ivan will carry the team. Again, for the damage mitigation factor in there, that is the reason why Ivan is kind of crazy. Is it okay to ascend heroes using other ascended tier heroes? I would say at this point, yes, it is, because essentially, if you're building a lot of heroes, if you're building even a lot of, let's say, older tier heroes, so even looking here, a lot of the older tier heroes, you're not going to use short of the tower, and some of those you'll never even use in the tower. So it kind of depends what you're doing. Yeah, you can if you want to use them, but again, earlier game, it might behoove you just to maybe use a couple earlier game. As you start getting late game, as you start unlocking your multiple floors within the King's Tower, you're going to have more and more teams to actually complete these game modes. So there is going to be a point where even here you need 15 Graveborn heroes. And of those 15 Graveborn heroes, having them built out a little bit, or having at least 15 heroes, are going to make a difference. Again, earlier game, you might find a little more advancement, a little faster advancement when you're going in there. But yeah, you could definitely do it. You'd make a little bit of faster progression. But again, it's not huge, so he didn't qualify in here. I don't even know if I've updated my teams in here. And there was the loss. Yeah, these teams, again, PvP teams, are kind of really, really old. Even looking here, there is, yeah, we need to update this. I'll have to remember to go ahead and update the teams in there. Those teams are just really old. I don't do PvP. Most of you know I really don't do PvP at all. What's the best team for the Twisted Realm? If you're talking absolute best team, it's very easy. Just hop in the Twisted Realm. Depending on which boss, there's no one team that is going to fit the Twisted Realm. But when you hop in here, the best way to do this, guys, and the easiest way, formations. This will show you what recommended formations are in here. You can see all of my guildies down here. And then, of course, it's going to show you all the popular formations. Best in slot formation for this one is right here, the Awakened version of Belinda. Because, of course, there are multiple teams with Dark Namora that are going to have, and this is going to change every single time. This is going to change a majority of times when we have new heroes coming out. You have to make sure, guys, this is going to change, and it will always change in here based on, and of course, looking at the recommended formations, it is recommended based on the heroes that you have. So it's very, very important when you're going in there. I have another question. Who should I put instead of Grizel? I have Edwin, Thorin, Bronn, and Hodgkin. I would probably do Edwin. If you build out Edwin a little bit, Edwin again still has use in quite a few places, not as easy to kill as we see with Grez. And again, if you're putting a little bit of time and resources into Grez, you're not going to use him at all. I would build out Edwin. Again, there are a few formations still using Edwin, especially if you're in a point where you're not using everybody. Again, looking at some of the heroes, you'll see Edwin show up in some formations every now and then. And if you don't have all of the heroes built, yes, Edwin is going to be a priority for a lot of different places because you don't have everyone built in their entirety. What's going on, Alfredas? What happened to Hodgkin? So the big thing with Hodgkin is power creep. It's the exact same thing. So when you think of Hodgkin, Hodgkin is a tank, and Hodgkin is kind of a buffing tank. So had the ability through Black Sail, through Jolly Roger, through a couple different ways that right here you got some buffing. Defense rating goes up, attack rating goes up. There are heroes that now buff it much higher than this, and it also buffs it at a much higher scale, which is the reason. So again, when you think of Hodgkin tower-wise utility, yes, Hodgkin's still going to be used, but we have, again, looking at support heroes, even looking big picture, they have released a stupid amount of support heroes, in my opinion, guys. Looking at, Palmer, but we've gotten Shuna, we've gotten Lan, we've gotten Nyla, we've gotten a ton of support heroes. We got Melion, we got Lavatoon, we got so many support heroes they've been releasing, which essentially makes the tanks or other support heroes the backseat. They stop being used. Now, what about Oden? Oden is still going to be used, guys. Oden is still used in a lot of capacity. When you start even thinking a lot, again, kind of the sub-heroes in formations, Oden still does incredibly well. And of course, Oden is going to be 100% required for the Greyborn Tower. When you get there, if you don't have all of your Awakened heroes maxed out in their entirety, Oden is going to be used and going to be used in a lot of different places. What do you use, Rem, Shadow Dancer, or Chaos Bringer? Depends on the formation, Dark. Again, that is kind of the thing to remember is when you start looking at collections, it depends number one, what collections you have built. So where do you have them built? What do they look like? What does your collection essentially build out look like? You have one that is much higher, much stronger built than other ones. If you're looking to maximize damage, of course, Shadow Dancer is going to be the one that you're going to. If you're looking at survivability wise, this one does incredibly well. If you're thinking of like a PvP aspect, this one can work very, very well in, again, the game mode that you're running. So looking in here, of course, this is going to be immune to fatal damage. So when you start thinking Cursed Realm Nightmare Corridor, you're going to be running Saurus's collection. When you start thinking of PvP, a lot of players run Zoras collection because of the ability. So again, that is where the utility of the heroes and that is where the versatility of the collections really do come in, is you can run them in a multitude of places. Again, if you're going PvP versus going maximizing damage, there's going to be a couple different places in there where you're going to run different artifacts based on essentially who you're using. And there we go, guys. I wanted to make sure I didn't forget. There's the gifting of the membership, which goes out to Connor. Congratulations, Connor. There is the gifting. We do this every time we do our live stream, guys. So that is the gifting of the membership. I didn't want to forget about that. Is there any Mauler who heals for the Mauler Tower? The Maulers don't really have a lot of healing. The Maulers, for the most part, are a lot more of the shielding aspect. So even when you start thinking of Mauler and support, the combination in here, there is a little bit of healing. There is a majority of it is going to be shielding, which again, you know, if you're healing the hero versus shielding the hero, essentially doing almost the same thing with the shielding, but you can see buffing up the life leech so they have the ability to kind of heal themselves. We've always been in I'm assuming at this point by design, most of the life leech ability that comes from the Maulers, even looking at Sophia, a lot of what Sophia has is either buffing or it is shielding or it is damage mitigation. There are a lot of different things in here that are just kind of based on the build of the heroes themselves, but Maulers straight up healing, like what we've seen with Nemisu's totems, not really. Naruko is probably, unironically, is the best hero. Yeah, Naruko does well. Naruko, again, there's a couple ones that again, the shielding aspect versus the healing aspect versus, you know, a bunch of different ways that the players mitigate damage. And that's where it's kind of changed. And our Scarlet and Damon still good. Damon will still be used, Sensei. Scarlet is, of course, if you don't have the Awakened version of Belinda built, if you don't have a lot of heroes like that, Scarlet is still going to be the go-to. Scarlet is kind of the cheaper version of the Awakened version of Belinda, has always been. If you don't have the ability, if you don't have the cards, if you don't have the currency to build out all of those Awakened heroes, yes, Scarlet is absolutely burst damage. Scarlet is also being used in the Nightmare Corridor, again, for the burst damage that she's putting out. Vathiel or Kelthin, I would do Kelthin. As of right now, utility-wise, Vathiel not being used in a ton of different places. Kelthin has more utility than Vathiel right as of right now. What are your team comps for Naruko? I don't think I really use Naruko anymore. Unfortunately, you know, Naruko is a hero that not seeing a lot of utility. And again, I feel like I feel like there's a lot of heroes. And again, it depends on who you use. And again, it's kind of big picture on who you have. That is where it gets kind of interesting, is depending on who you, and I don't think you mean Naruko, not, I think I think you mean the other hero. I'm thinking of this hero, drawing a blank, but utility wise, yeah, the tank, Naruko is a tank without the tank. Yeah. Are you thinking of, and it's funny because Naruko, do you ever think of Tiny Tank? I call her Tiny Tank, Naruko. So who are you using? So the thing with this is you have to have Naruko built. Naruko is going to win, and Naruko doesn't win on herself. Naruko is dependent on Nadia. So Nadia is the big one. You have to have, I know that's what I was thinking. I was like, Naruko, I was like, wait. And then, yeah, Tiny Tank, we got it. Yeah, Naruko is dependent on Nadia. So if Naruko is taking a lot of burst damage, she will absolutely get crushed very, very easy. You have to have the plus 30 signature item in here for the defense reduction, which is the reason why players usually use it. And then, of course, the higher that you build her out, the better that you build her out is going to make a big difference. And this is the plus 30 engraving on Naruko is big. Now, the reason being crowd control. If you can get Naruko to do crowd control, it will increase the survivability of her. Then, of course, keeping Nadia alive as well makes a very big difference on her. And of course, when, again, you have the stun aspect in here, makes a big difference. You have to have her built out. If you don't have Naruko built out, it's not going to work, and it's not going to work very well at all with the build out, with not having the hero built out within there. Now, Naruko, if you start going through the combat, so Naruko is interesting because Naruko does everything. What I mean by that, Naruko is a tank, Naruko buffs, Naruko has crowd control, Naruko does shielding, Naruko does healing. So when you think of a hero that does everything, Naruko is being used in a lot of different formations because the utility of the hero is used in a lot of different places. And I don't remember if we've seen her in here. There's actually a lot of places that she's being run in different formations. And right there's Naruko. So looking at what we're having run right here, Naruko is being run right there with the tanking relic. You can see a lot of HP on here, and look at that, guys. You have 8. This is why whales win. But you can see double skill level right there, all full attack. So as a buffer, that's what they're using Naruko as right here. Naruko's utility is very, very high in a ton of different game modes, which is the reason why so many players do use them. Is Damon used in late game? Not really. More early game than anything that they're being used. So one more question here. What Ascension hero? I got Chimera and playing Rem, Ivan Carey, stuck in 31. So honestly, if you already got Chimera, I would look at building Athalia, or you could wait till the next one if you're looking at the Awakened heroes. But if you're looking at 2 teams, you could definitely do a lot more, because if you're running Rem, Ivan Carey, you're running Chimera. Look at building a lot of other heroes around Chimera. Lady Simona is really good, but even thinking of other factions, depending on who you have, and again, that really makes a big difference on who you're running. Is Tamara's skill relevant? Not really. So Tamara's been kind of replaced. The where Tamara's is being used is multiple teams. So when you start thinking of the crowd control, the enthusiasm buff, what Tamarisk does is been replaced in a lot of the content until you start getting to later games, later teams in like the treasure scramble. When you start getting into these much later formations, you'll actually see the hero being used again, quite a few different places, just for the fact that you're running so many teams. So even looking, there's Aethys. I'm not sure if they're being used and running here. There's Ezio. Now, Tamarisk wasn't running this one. But again, when you start thinking of the multitude of teams, is Tamarisk used? Very niche, but honestly going to be replaced pretty soon, guys. But all right, so we are just a little bit over time now, but that is going to do it for today's live stream, guys. It is awesome being able to talk to you. Big shout out to the new subscribers, and of course, Connor for the new membership, and Big C for that big super chat right in there. It is awesome to see all the love and support for the channel, guys. So that is going to do it. Got to go get ready. We got the baseball game like we talked about earlier. 46-21, we're going to make some more progression in the campaign. And even thinking here, and I didn't really notice until I pulled up the map, there's only, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 more chapters. I know with the patch, a new chapter is going up. So we are literally just chasing the ability to get through some more of these chapters. I want to go through, want to make some more progression in here. And we're at level 914. So we're in a good place to continue making the progression, which is awesome. So guys, have a good day. Get out. I know you've been sitting here watching the stream, but get out, log off, go enjoy some time outside. That's exactly what we're going to do. Going to go watch the game, relax, have a brew, chill for a little bit. So guys, thank you guys for joining me for live stream. Always awesome to chat about AFK Arena with you. And the shadow list, there we go. Subscriber number 2. Thanks for subbing to the channel. Have a good Sunday, guys. Got a lot more content that's coming. And of course, the new Wilder is coming up this week. So save your diamonds so you can get those summons there. For the desired hero summons, getting them out of there. So guys, again, that's going to do it. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you in the next stream.